Hello. Um, this is about me and C. Murder Corey Miller. Around the time I was in the 80s. I had my own restaurant. I was thriving in the community in East St. Louis, Illinois, and surrounding areas. I was already known before I even reached Illinois in 1975. I was a kidnapped child. My mother known. My mother is Betty Wright. My mother is Betty, singer known as Betty Wright. My father, Rob, also known as Gene Simmons, which I gave him that nickname, for as a stage name if somebody was to approach him, of the rock group Kiss. It's the man with the long red tongue and all that stuff. So anyway, make a long story short, I had already knew Lord even before I got kidnapped. And you know, I had already knew him. He was looking for me, had his father looking for me, him and his brother and sister, and they was looking and we and looking for Bruno too. But let me get to Corey Miller. Let's get to the man I call C Murder. They was calling him C Miller at first, and when he started rapping, I started calling him C Murder. There was no truth or told or nothing true about his raps. It was no more than what we seen that was going on in the community, how he felt, and certain things had to be spoke upon. All in all, he's not a bad guy. Master P wasn't either. I'm talking about everybody is sitting around. Not only when everybody was writing their music, I also taught them the aspects of living. Like, hey, you got bills to pay. I taught Master P management for us, dealing with invoices and dealing with for us payments and a whole lot of things. Yes, taxes and dealing, he had to pay, I know the IRS, and, I taught them well. So they will never say they didn't know, because some people, though those things, some people are not good at some certain things, but he was able to obtain and restore inside his mind and body the things that I taught him. You know, he used to manage my church's chicken restaurants. I own all the church's chicken restaurants. Have my own chicken farm. That's why my chicken is so cheap and great tasting. It's great for people with hyperallergenics. So if you have a peanut allergy, I do not cook anything with peanut oil. I do not, because I have allergies myself, so I understand. I try to be as careful as I can because I have to be careful with me and my family. Allergies. Who wants to eat a meal and break out sneezing, coughing, itching, and stuff? But anyway, let me get to C Murder. C Murder was around. He knew Lloyd. And we always was up under each other all the time, going to sleep together all the time. And he was talking to other girls and everything. But we was always up on time. It was time to go to sleep. He always slept with me. Nothing, you know. So when we went to sleep, we had our shoes on, everything. I mean, used to be that tired too from being up all day, my baby, my sons, and so forth like that. So next thing I know, um, Lord was, showing his ass and doing a lot of things, and a lot of guys already liked me. And then with Corey being up under me all the time and really seeing how I am, he always approached Lord. He was like, Lord, she nice, she sweet, she smart. He was like, oh man, why you keep hanging around on women that's hoes and they doing all this stuff and they just having man to man talk, no argument or nothing. And then when C Murder say something to him where he, cause I guess you'd say Lord was out there sowing his oats or whatever you want to call it. So he hanging around other females, the ones in his videos and all this type stuff, and they doing a lot of obscure things. And he was like, "Why you acting like that, Lord?" And then he kept trying to make C Murder cover. He said, "I ain't got cover for you." He said, "I'm just gonna go on and get with her." And he told Lord right in his face. He said, "No, I be with her all the time. I see how she is, and even before, and this, then me and C Murder had hooked up." So now we with each other all the time. He was going to Lincoln Senior High School in East St. Louis on Bond. Laura going to school there. Jody C going to school there. Everybody was Usher, which is Terry. He was going to school there. All of them was going to Lincoln High School at the time. I had already been out of school. By the time I was at the age of 12 years old, as far as my completion during school was over excellent. I have several master degrees. I have a lot of curriculum in colleges and stuff like that. I'm known for many of things. Um, but the thing is this is that back to C. Miller. So all while we hanging around, I already knew Nipsey and Lauren London, them, Snoop Dogg, Nipsey Brothers, and so forth. And Nips, that man that used to be around Nipsey, them, all that white short white man. He stands with about 5'7". He was going around telling people he's like 5'7", 5'7.5", telling people he was my daddy and all. And I knew he wasn't my daddy. I just be trying to get him away from me. Even when he had kidnapped me, I had already done stabbed him and all type stuff. And come to find out, he already, he knew our Anthea already, and they all used to be. He thought, but our Anthea thought he really was my father. She really didn't know everything. But still, in all, she is not a good person. Our Anthea is Trey Songz' auntie. Trey Songz is not a good person either. But anyway, this is about C. Miller. So we hanging around, I'm getting pregnant, I got babies by him and all this other stuff going on. And Lori was like in and out, coming around and so forth. At this time now I had done got one election for a township supervisor in the city of in the town of East St. Louis, and I was a doctor. I am Dr. Williams. I am Attorney Williams. Had my own, everything was going as well. Had them rented out an office up there by the courthouse to start my own firm up and everything. Just basically me because at the same time I had started off as a public defender, or if they needed me for as prosecutor. It just depends on what it was because and how severity of the case was and who had the most experience to handle that case. So that's basically what it had ended up being. But the thing is this. Me and C. Murder had grew fond of each other. He supported me in what I was doing. We had each other back. And Snoop Dogg was around. He kept telling everybody that Nipsey and Lauren London them was his cousins and all this stuff. By this time, Snoop Dogg going around. Everybody that knew me causing problems, even Tom Cruise. I dated Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise used to be over there all the time. He basically lived there. Like I said, everybody used to be over there. Even New Edition. So back to what I was saying. So like even when Tom Cruise was around, Snoop Dogg was giving. I'm fighting him all the time, beating him up. I'm talking about like what is wrong with him? You know. So that particular time they had that show, and Snoop Dogg was on stage with them with all those other people, and Snoop Dogg kept keeping up a bunch of mess and lying to C. Miller and them family, everybody else about me. So when Silk the Shocker and them came through, which I named him Silk the Shocker, he he was kind of mean or whatever. Now he started realizing he kind of apologized or whatever because he thought, and Master P had kept telling him Snoop Dogg full of crap because all of us had got into it. And at the end of the day, C. Miller and Master P, he laughed, they laughed or whatever, and this, that, and the other, because they had to make them realize that the problem was Nipsey now, his brothers, and Snoop Dogg, okay, and Nelly and Chris Brown. At the end of the day, it was them. So, make a long story short, after they had that show, uh, Corey called me. He was like, "Oh, baby, I'll be there," and this, that, and the other, and I'm coming to get you one of the kids, and this, that, and the other. I was like, okay. So, and Snoop Dogg getting mad. So it wasn't. It was like when it was like not at the end of the show, like during the show. And then he said he finna go on stage, so he hopped off. So he said he'd talk to me later. So I said, okay. Next thing you know, they doing their thing. It's on TV and all this stuff, and it was live. So next thing I know, after they getting off the stage, an altercation had occurred. It did happen because Snoop Dogg went to Master P talking foul against about C Murder. He said, "Man, what the hell you on? That's my brother. He ain't did nothing to you." What the hell you around us for if you feel like that? What time of something? Oh man, he trying to take Shonda from us, and I'm trying to make sure Shonda be with my brother and this, that, and no with my cousin them, man, because man, we ain't gonna have nothing, man. That's her stores, those her restaurants, all that stuff. Man, he ain't really got nothing for real. I told him hurry up and go and get his music, so you know what I'm saying? And then and Master P was like, what? So y'all trying to hold on to somebody because y'all ain't got nothing. And that white man y'all with was part of Shonda and Bruno kidnapped when they was kids. Cause I had already told Master P. So when Snoop Dogg was getting mad, the truth was just rolling out his mouth. He said, and he started plotting on C. He said, I'm gonna get him. He was gonna do this and that to, C Murder, and he set C Murder up. He kept on trying. One particular time, he thought C Murder was gone. He thought Master P was up at my restaurant, Church's Chicken, right in East St. Louis, right across the street from School District 189. He was at that building right there. And they thought they was gone, but because we weren't talking to Snoop. And he said he was tired. He didn't want to go to school that day. He was like, man, it was raining a little bit. He was like, forget it. Because he was on his way walking. I said, you want me to drop you off at school? He was like, no, I'm tight, so I'm going to lay down with you. He said, sure, that baby got me tired too. Some of everything, the more you get in your months, I'm tired with you. So we laying down and school got out early that day. He said, anyway, forget it. I was like, well, you might got some work you got to do. Still can go up there. So we go up there to the school before noon. And he go talk to the teachers. They was just in there, and she just told him, this, and that. And somebody had called in and said that he was in New Orleans, and they need to make sure this, and come to find out it was some bull crap. It was Snoop Dogg now. So, but the East St. Louis police officers at that time took up for him. It was like, ain't no damn way in hell he done went from no New Orleans from Louisiana all the way back here. Now, what time did the altercation occur? So we can go look for him all the time. They was already, so they was saying like about an hour or two ago. You know how far New Orleans, Louisiana is when you drive going to East St. Louis, Illinois? There's no way that was even possible. You know. So that didn't hold water. And Snoop Dogg just kept on, and he asking Bootsy them, and he asking Birdman them. They going around checking out names of prisons and all this other stuff. Just kept on hating on C Murder. Cardi B was hating on me. Birdman was hating on us, and all this. So it's Cardi B, Nipsey and his brothers now. You know, Lauren London a little bit. You know, and it was them. You know, the whole time. So I'm like, why don't y'all stay away from us? We weren't even dealing with them. You know. So time steady going on. And it was an incident that occurred that kind of proved something too, because Nipsey and them kept trying to do all these other things and set people up. Like they tried to do Harden. And I bust their asses out. Harden had a feeling too. I told y'all I know Harden, and I know Harden and Steph Curry, DeMarcus Cousins, and LeBron James, them, and everybody. So Harden had found out what they was doing too, because Harden just went somewhere else. He had a feeling what was going on. So Harden was acting like he was out and his leg was hurting and this, that, and other all the time. He up in the stands watching the game. Altercation supposed to occur someone. They were saying Harden did this and Harden did that. Harden at the game. Right there. Law enforcement right there too, because they had a feeling about Nipsey and Snoop Dogg them and Law and London now. So that helped C Murder too. Because when they caught him, Nipsey them had fake beards on. He lightened up his skin with this bleach stuff. Like he's not like darkening with some makeup and all that stuff. Like that. So all this stuff going on while C Murder has been incarcerated. Because they was like they had an idea. So next thing I know, let me check on this. So next thing I know, they continued on, with their lives. Snoop Dogg steady keeping up stuff. My babies get kidnapped. All this other stuff was going on. So next thing I know, When he went to this altercation that occurred in New Orleans, Louisiana, what was so wild was a lot of people, Mr. Extravagant, and they showing him around. Boosie really didn't know too much because he found out, yeah, the people he was around was kind of lying, and Birdman, them, everybody trying to hang around and do a little stuff, and they plotting the whole time. So we can't say it's really straight gang activity because all of them were part of different gangs. Now here it is, Birdman and Cardi B Bloods, Snoop Dogg and them Crips, and then the other people they hang around, Reg Davis and them, and Keisha Hudson, Big Shay, Cecilia, CC Monroe and them, Tip and Tiny and them, Vice Lords. But they dipping in and out like all on part of the same crew. Okay, but keeping up bullshit. Which all that had already done came out too. So I was sending information. I was gonna go down there to try to represent him, and but I didn't. Even though I worked for the FBI too, and I had to do right is wrong, wrong is wrong. They was trying to see was it something of self defense or who was around. Because at first, be honest, nobody was blaming him for when the guy got shot. Though they wasn't. They was trying to blame Master P. Okay. So with so with all that arguing and stuff had actually calmed down. See, the thing was that Snoop Dogg and Bow Wow was around. Okay, they called themselves putting themselves in a situation that had already been calmed down. It was already calmed down, and it was. Bow Wow gets mad. Snoop Dogg get mad. Come to find out, the gun that Snoop Dogg had and Bow Wow had came from this lady named Tori McLean that lived in East St. Louis. Tori McLean said they were talking like somebody was messing with them, all this other stuff. And then for some odd reason, Tori started acting tough for me, knowing she know how I am. I mean, she know how I am. I'm just gonna leave it right there. I don't start nothing. I mean, I'm a very peaceful person, but I'm not gonna stand there and watch nobody do nothing to me and mine or innocent. I try to keep stuff calm, and if it's two people fight, fight. It's just how I am. I'm not. You have to understand. To see what's be right there to know the whole story. That's why most police, when they be having them riots and stuff, if people just fight, they'll let them fight, break it up, shoot in the air, fire guns, whatever in the air, and hey, calm down, y'all all right now? Don't want to hear about it no more. Y'all don't fall, go to jail, and let it be that. So, the bottom line is, he was set up. So I had sent some information off to this attorney that was representing C Murder. And when he got it, it was something else in there totally different. So then we knew it had something to do with some people at the post office and all that. So that's how we end up catching Nipsey and them. And I was wondering, how did DJ Khaled and Tiny and them and everybody end up with my electronics and all my stuff? Even found out who stole my movies because, I'm the sole owner of Disney, Universal, and Warner. And my employees at Disney was sending me things because with certain people, they want certain people in certain positions, they'll send me short clips of it. Like, hey, they'll tell them to act out the scene, do a little bit, and put them in costume because they already, but we have to make sure how they act on camera, make sure they role fits them. So when Black Panther and all the other shows was coming out and the list on and on at that time, it ended up Oprah Winfrey ended up with some stuff of mine and all these other people, and when Tip had his daughter, and Tip was like, "You be buying everybody else baby." So when they had their baby, so I had bought her some books. I said, he was like, "Yes, thank you." So I bought. I said, "How did you get the books anyway?" And Tip, he didn't really want saying. They broke in my apartment, but come to find out, Nipsey was cool with that mailman in East St. Louis. Okay. And Greg Mathis had busted them out too. He found out too. Because I was wondering, how the hell did Greg Mathis know this, that, and the other? Because Greg Mathis was reading some stuff I wrote. And because I'm like, I ain't discussing nothing with no Greg Mathis. Greg Mathis works with the state, the local municipality where he at. I'm federal. You know, I'm like, what are you talking about? Then he was saying some stuff he didn't know he was talking about and felt real stupid. And I'm like, no, what you're talking about was wrong, and I know what I'm talking about, you know. And then how in the world did you get anything that I sent off um, to Springfield, Illinois? How did you get anything that I sent to Louisiana? Then I'm helping other guys with cases too because how you all are getting this stuff, I'm sending through the mail. So they exposed themselves. That's what ended up happening. But the thing is this, Snoop Dogg and them did that intentionally. Bow Wow hopped out of a vehicle, was with Snoop Dogg. Somebody posted, guys, they told me to leave the stuff alone. Somebody got shot. Snoop Dogg run up doing an altercation when everybody trying to see what's going on. And that was basically what they had found out. So when C Murder Corey was telling what was happening, another officers they knew that too because people were still counting around. And they were saying Master P did this or whatever. It looked like him or whatever. And come to find out, you know, Master P, C Murder, Snoop Dogg, them count up and, you know, nips everybody. But let me get to this. And I'm going to end it here. Nipsey them got called again. I was at Walmart one time. Yeah. And I'm talking to another lady. We right there in the area when you walk in. I go to the right. It's a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and everything. And we sitting there, and there was a lady setting up a stand so everybody could taste the fresh fruit. So I was like, oh, no, I can't eat that right there. And the other lady, we just, you know, sampling a little stuff. So Snoop Dogg don't come in Walmart in Madison County. Altercation on camera. People was there doing a whole ordeal. And everybody was like, wow. Now all the stuff started going on because I kicked his ass in Walmart. And, but to make a long story short, when all that stuff was going on, and then make it so bad, the other guy that worked at Walmart, I had seen him at the rapper Cameron concert. I told Cam, that's that dude. All that white guy right there had like the big belly or whatever. I was wearing that real tight pink shirt.